Now, the second we hit Bixby, we start making some phone calls. I mean, we could make some real money on this thing. We could get in People magazine.
People? Heck, National Geographic. Better yet, we can even get into this episode of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Thunder Road 3 now online. How can I help you travel through movie space-time today? Course entered. Tremors, 1990. Is this correct? Course set. Rewinding in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, Rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 or more years ago. I'm your captain of the former pod, now the TR3, Francisco Ruiz, and I'm joined by your XO and mine, Paul, the PaulJPowers.com Powers.
I ask you, is this a job for intelligent men?
Well, show me one. I'll ask him.
Fair enough.
And also for this discussion of the film Tremors, we welcome aboard for the first time B-movie connoisseur, baseball fan, and associate pastor at Table Community Church, Jeremiah Duncan. Hey, Jeremiah.
Hey, how's it going?
Going well. How about yourself?
Pretty good.
Awesome. And in addition, we are glad to have back aboard engineering officer Travis Berg.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Going well, Travis. And now they have a quick flyby of who we are. Paul, can you give us a quick overview of the production specs for Tremors?
Sure. Earthquake was released November 15th, 1974.
Paul.
What? Rated Peach. What?
I know earthquakes have tremors, but
yes.
The literal name of the movie is Tremors, not Earthquake.
Not the Charlton Heston movie?
No.
Oh,
that could have been brought to my attention yesterday.
Fine.
We discussed these ahead of time, Paul.
Let me go back and watch. All right. Tremors. The first movie, right?
Yes, Paul.
Okay, good. I don't want to have to rewind 7 times. Okay. Tremors, the first movie, was released January 19th, 1990 and runs an hour and 36 minutes and is rated PG-13. It was directed by Ron Underwood and written by S.
And just a point of fact, Ron Underwood is not Jay Underwood's dad. I was curious about that, and they're not related.
Oh, so weird. So many Underwoods.
Apparently. Continue.
His name should have been Under Dirt, not Underwood.
Oh,
anyway.
My gosh.
It was written by S.S. Wilson, Brent Maddock. Sorry, Wilson SS. Sorry. Brent Maddock and Ron Not J Fathers Underwood. With lead stars being Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, Finn Carter, Michael Gross, and a few others you may or may not recognize. With music composed by Ernest Troost. And are you ready for the box office trivia?
So I'm ready. Are you gentlemen ready?
Ready.
Yeah.
And I would say everyone in chat can join in too, but I can't read it. So,
but I can. So everyone in chat, you're welcome to join in too.
Awesome. Okay, go for it, Paul.
All right. Tremors was made for about $10 million and earned over $16 million in the box office. That's good.
Okay, yeah.
It's a 1-6, not a 6-0, in case I wasn't articulate on that.
Sure.
But given this fact, how high in the box office do you think it ranks among the movies released theatrically in 1990? And since it's 1990, we'll go for the top 90.
All righty. Jeremiah, what is your guess for where it ranks in the top 90 films of 1990?
That's a good question. I'm just going to choose 32.
32. All right. How about you, Travis? What's your guess?
90. That was it was the even year. So multiple of 10, so 40. It's very scientific.
Do we have anyone in chat guessing, Paul?
No guesses from chat, but we'll give Bobo the honorary 42 position.
Yes, he always goes for 42. I'm going to guess, I'm going to lowball this and say there's about 8 characters that make it, so I'm going to say 80. How's that for math there, Travis?
It checks out.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Right.
32 is a multiple of 8.
Oh, yeah. So me and Jeremiah are on the same page.
Yeah.
Okay.
So where did it actually end up, Paul?
Ashley actually adds one more in and says 54.
Oh, okay, 54.
So you're going to have to continue your math because it comes in at 68.
68? That's not a multiple of 8, I don't think. Maybe.
No.
68.
It's
all right.
multiples of 2s, which you all had.
So I guess
even numbers.
I'm the closest there. Yeah, I'm the closest then. So I win. Yes.
Wait, what number did you say?
I said 80.
All right. Good job, Captain.
I try. Well, thank you for those factoids, Paul. And let's see if any of them factor into our memory mind meld or subsequent roundtable discussion, which we'll get into once Travis is located, our target film.
Alert. Target located. Spoilers incoming. Establishing analysis vector.
Cocktail?
There's nothing new under the sun.
We plan ahead. That way we don't do anything right now.
But under the ground, there's something no one's ever seen before.
What the hell are they?
It's big. It's mean. It's ugly.
Stinks too.
And worst of all,
Run!
it's hungry.
Makes my skin crawl.
Kevin Bacon. Tremors.
Starts Friday, January 19th at theaters everywhere. Consult your
local listings because, that's important to consult those local listings. And, it's that TV spot probably jogs some memories for you. But let's get into the things we remembered about Tremors in our memory mind meld synopsis. Somewhere. There it is. Kevin Bacon and Burt Ward banter a lot as they are about to leave their small desert town of perfection. But they go back because people keep turning up missing. Bacon and Ward find an alien snake attached to their truck. Meanwhile, a construction crew deals with some surprise underground hazards. Now the whole town has to footloose it softly, or the graboids will get them. Everyone is on the roofs of the buildings, except the little girl who is going down the street on her pogo stick, completely unaware of the monsters. I don't really care how the movie ends, whether or not the guys get the girl, or if the town gets saved, or even if there is a room for a sequel. I just love the moment when we got to see a dead monster, and how they died. So a lot of that was right, but Burt Ward, that's Robin from Batman. This is Fred Ward. I can't believe who would have thought that. Jeez. So obviously our memories were deceptive. But as flawed as those memories were, what reign did they lead you to predict for this film before you rewatched it? Classic, nostalgic, or tragic? Let's start with Jeremiah once more. What was your prediction for Tremors?
I predicted classic.
Classic, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Was this your first time watching it, or had you seen it before?
I've seen it before.
Yeah. Travis, same questions.
It's been a while since I've seen it, so I was picturing a nostalgic in my head before watching
All right, fair. Paul, how about you?
I did not see this in the theaters when it first came out, but I saw it afterwards, like on HBO or something like that. Back then, I thought it was just okay, but I watched it later on, and I thought it held up well, and so I'm predicting that this time around, which it's been a while again, it'll be a classic.
Another classic. I also always remembered liking this movie whenever it came on, so I predicted classic as well. It'll be interesting to see if those predictions pan out, but first, let's get into the things we liked most about Tremors. Let's boot up our
Best bits.
And
are you going to totally ignore the fact that we have Travis and Travis here together?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're going to start with Jeremiah. Our AI is Travis, for those new to the podcast. Jeremiah, what was one thing you liked about Tremors?
Only one thing?
Yeah, just one. We're starting with one thing. We'll go all around several times, hence the round tableness.
Yes. Okay, I have to pick one thing, I guess.
That's not your favorite.
That's not my favorite?
Yeah.
I loved the opening scene when the two characters introduced and the way that they first we found out how they make decisions.
Yes,
and we also learned what their diet was, and then we also get a nice little Easter egg. And so the opening scene is one of the things that I liked about the movie.
What's the Easter egg?
Yeah.
Well, it's the way that Kevin Bacon character wakes up. Burt
Ward.
Burt Ward,
Burt Ward, yeah.
No, it's Fred Ward.
I know. I'm being silly.
Okay, yeah, I got it written down right here with Stampede. Would you like to know that Easter egg right now or later?
Sure, yeah. I don't.
So obviously it plays into the end of the film.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But the director, not Jay's son.
Jay's father.
Not Jay's father.
Yeah.
What's his name?
What is it? Ron Underwood?
Henderson?
Ross?
Underwood. Ron Underwood.
Yeah.
Actually created was part of a production company called Stampede Entertainment.
Oh, really?
That went on to do sequels of, also he was involved in City Slickers, but the sequels and stuff to Tremors, and also the TV show that was produced.
Okay,
so
cool.
Little Easter egg there.
That's
Stampede
fun.
Entertainment.
I had no idea.
Stampede.
Wow.
And of course the whole line, you've never seen a stampede before. So, anyway.
Very cool.
Sometimes people talk about the great introductions in cinema history, and I think this is one of them with Kevin Bacon staring off into the sky, and then he turns around to make the reveal that he was taking a leak the whole time. That's pretty funny.
Dude. Yes.
Very fair.
I
Very
agree.
Fair. Let's see. Travis, did you like seeing Kevin Bacon pee or
what?
Well, I just had to infer that he was peeing, but he conveyed it well. It was well acted.
Yes.
So thanks, Kevin.
More seriously, what was something you liked, Travis?
I really liked the setting of the movie. I guess it was filmed in
Yeah, I didn't catch it. Do you happen to know, Paul? Or?
Lone Pine, California. There we
really?
go.
Okay.
I
can see that.
It was in California, but I don't remember where. Yeah.
But just like the rocks and the valley, it really gave that sense of remote. And you could tell this was this very small town, that had been there a while. So I just really like the setting and the set production of it. Just made it feel like, hey, they're out in the middle of nowhere. They're on their own. Yeah,
that was one of my likes too. There's something that just really grounds a movie when you're on location somewhere and it just looks like what the movie should look like. And so it's just really beautiful vistas, and I'm not used to something like that in a horror movie or a monster movie. I expect it to just be, I don't know, a bunch of buildings getting blown up, but apparently there are only two interiors in this whole film, is exteriors otherwise. But you were going to say something, John?
Well, one of the common tropes in horror movies is isolated place.
Yeah, right? That's true.
Or abandoned place. Mm-hmm. And so when they roll into town, you see the sign on the side of the road that says population 14.
Yeah,
this is an abandoned place.
Yeah.
Ironically called perfection.
Yeah.
But it totally picks up on a lot of themes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I have 4 more to share with you.
I watch other horror movies, or I'm just not well versed, or something. Maybe. Anyway, Paul, what's something you liked about Tremors?
Going back to your previous segue, it's Kevin Bacon that I like.
Really?
I'll tell you what.
I don't agree, but okay.
Let me tell you why. Okay,
I like Kevin Bacon, by the way. It's just in this part, I'm like, okay.
His character, Valentine McKee, starts off as not a likable character because he's kind of mean to his friend. He's very he's only looking for one type of woman, and it's very it's all very surface level, and it's like this is not a very likable character, but gosh darn it, by the end of the film, he's the one character I remember the most. I don't know what it is about the star power of Kevin Bacon, but there's an X factor here that it is something. And it's he takes an unlikable character and makes it as somewhat, at least for the most part, somewhat enjoyable.
Someone you can empathize with.
Yeah. I guess, I don't know how he does it. It's that Kevin Baconness, I guess. That's that warm crispiness he brings to it. I don't know.
Gosh.
But he does a good job, and I appreciate that. Kevin, you did a good job.
Do any of you know, is Kevin Bacon his stage name, or is that his real name? Do any of you know? I don't.
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Okay.
It's actually Kevin Wilson Fried Pig Guts, but he shortened it down to Bacon at the end.
I can see why he would do that.
Yeah.
Interesting name, Latrine. How'd your family come by it? It used to be something else house. Okay. Good change.
Best I could do off the top of my head.
Oh my goodness. So Jeremiah, what's something you liked about?
Actually, I can piggyback off of that.
Oh yeah.
It's not just Kevin Bacon's character. I almost look at his character like a caricature. Because a lot of the stuff had the potential to be really exaggerated.
Yeah.
But every character was exaggerated on the same level.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So the interaction between Melvin and
Nestor?
And not Nestor, the Miguel and Melvin, and then the gun guy and Melvin.
Bert.
Bert.
I think his name is Bert.
His
That's
name is
where
Bert.
I get
There it
confused.
is. Yeah. So, but every single character really was kind of heightened on so the way they interacted with each other. So it made the Kevin Bacon's character
more grounded.
Yeah, exactly, more grounded.
Yeah, I guess I could see that.
So I was a fan of how they did that, and and when everyone was on the scene, we knew what their motivations were, and we knew how they fit.
Yeah,
and so I kudos to that. There wasn't a dead character for me.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I didn't think about that, but yeah, they all seemed to feel like they were in this place. They'd lived there a while. Yeah, it didn't seem like, why are you here, or what's the point of you? I didn't like Nestor, but I'm glad he died in a way because he was sort of despicable. But then Melvin didn't die. But actually, that allowed me to think of a spiritual speculation. But we'll get to those later.
Yeah.
Travis, were there other characters that appealed to you, or was there something else that made your like list?
I mean, kind of in a little bit of the characters too, just how they're learning. But a larger theme than that was just the slow reveal and build of what was happening. Something's going on. They find their friend or the neighbor up the power pole with his rifle, died from dehydration. And just like the subtleness, like you didn't really know what was going on. And even then it was very slow to reveal itself and relied more on your imagination to fill in the details. I like that aspect of the film a lot.
Yes, I completely agree 100%. This movie does an excellent job of unpacking slow bits by bit. You have even when you get to the monster, you think, oh, they're giant worms, but it's not. It keeps revealing more and more.
Yes. I'm curious, did any of you feel it was a benefit or a disservice that on the poster, that's very much of a Jaws ripoff or homage, maybe. Homage. It doesn't look like the actual monster. It's this, like, I guess, big snake with tons of teeth. Do you feel like that's good because it messes with your expectations, or it's just like, well, I was hoping for that, and it's this?
I don't ever recall seeing the movie poster for it.
Oh, okay.
And I watched it. I watched it on Amazon Prime, but I don't really pay attention to what the avatar was. I just hit button and watched.
Okay. How about you, Travis? I'm sure.
I mean, like a little bit, but then also being a fan of the series, they kind of change from film to film too. So
that's true.
It didn't bother me too much. But.
It is a conundrum because I think it's an excellent poster.
Yes. I do like it. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it gives away too much.
Yeah. Well, but it doesn't really give away. I mean, it feels like a lie in a way, I guess, if I'm being super literal about it, but.
Anyway, it could have revealed more, but I don't know what the I haven't seen a better poster than the graboid coming up from the bottom with the giant, like it's like 50 times as big as it really is in the movie.
Yeah.
But
the Meg Tremors edition.
Yeah, almost. But I've seen other attempts at a cover for it, and it hasn't been as iconic or as good as that. So I don't know what the payoff is.
Yeah, I don't think you could really do one that's better without having the actual monster. I've seen posters that show the actual monster, and they're beautiful. But one that sort of just gets a sense of it. Yeah, I don't think you could do it. But
I love that you called it a graboid.
Well, that's what they are. Yeah. Paul, why don't you call your next like for us? Because that's
I'm older and I'm wise. Yeah, well, you're half right.
All right. You know what's something I liked even better than Kevin Bacon?
Burt Ward?
No.
Kevin Bacon's flowing hair.
All right. Let's put it this way. All right. Since you brought it up, Fred Ward, I think, did a great job. But unfortunately, as great of a job as he did, he's forgettable compared to Kevin Bacon. So
I completely disagree. I enjoyed his character so much more than Kevin Bacon.
Like I said, the character is better, but he's not as memorable. Sorry, we can't even remember his name. All right. So, but you know what I like better than
Earl? I thought wasn't it? Isn't it Earl?
Yeah, Earl Bassett. But anyway,
I remembered because I did. Continue, please, Paul.
But what I liked even more than Kevin Bacon was those underground POV shots of the shot of the graboid going through the dirt.
Yeah,
it only happened like 2 times about.
Are you
but
talking
that was
about the
fantastic.
Ones where you see it pass by, like the side of it, or where you're actually seeing it?
Like
I guess you said POV
of the graboid going through the dirt.
It's like,
even for the 90s, I thought,
like
what a great shot
John
that
Carpenter
was.
movie in space, but this time it's underground.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But yeah, those were great, Paul. My next like though is going to be sort of graboiding from Travis's a bit, and that's I really enjoyed also the not only the way the movie builds, but I really appreciated how you have this small town of like, it starts like 14 people or something, and they all have to do their part to try to figure out what's going on. They sort of work together. Not all of them sort of contribute necessarily a whole lot, but it's really cool seeing how they keep coming up with something they have to figure out. First, there's snakes that are grabbing my truck. Okay, what's this about? That's strange. And they're killing people, but why? They gotta be a lot bigger. Then they actually see the actual thing. Then there's multiple things. Then they have to be up on the buildings and they have to get away. And then there's the graboids leave traps for them. They're always having to figure out how to survive together. And I just love that sort of, I mean, it's not really a team, but that sort of dynamic. I really appreciate that. They're all in this together. They're going to work together to try to get through. Some are going to contribute a lot more than others, but they're still, for lack of a better word, a city family or a town family. So I really like that element of it.
Kind of like the Poseidon Adventure.
I've only seen bits of the Poseidon Adventure.
Okay.
And the original is with like Gene Hackman, right?
Yeah, it's with Lex Luthor with hair. Yeah. But they have to work together to get out. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I guess it's also like the Goonies. You keep coming up with against new things that you have to figure out. Okay, how are we going to get to have this one? So
yeah, I
appreciate that. All right, now guys, it's time to get to the things we loved most about Tremors, and I'm going to have Paul start us off.
Okay, what I liked even better than the POV shots underground
is bacon.
Bacon. No, it's just the concept itself. I mean, land sharks. I mean, that's such a cool concept. I mean, it went on to create more, they made a whole franchise out of it. And rightfully so. Just the idea of like, hey, there's something in the ground that can get you. It's a wonderful trope. It's a wonderful concept. I think it's excellent.
Yeah. And I had never seen, I don't recall any other movies like that with this type of creature where it's like it can hear you, it's underground. I thought that was
Dune.
Well, okay, I guess
it's a giant worm underground.
Yeah,
anyway.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, they weren't like hunting you through sound and stuff. They? Okay, fine. I've never seen Dune. I've never read the book, so I don't know. Maybe they do that. Okay, let's see. Jeremiah, what was the thing you loved most about this film?
It's the monsters.
The monsters, yeah.
I love the monsters. Yeah. I mean, I think there were, in my version, there were 2 scenes. It was when the construction worker stabbed him with the jackhammer.
Yes.
When it started bubbling up, it was a little too bright for me.
Oh.
And then there was one scene later when I think it was when they were fishing off of the stones, and then it blows up in the desert. When the guts land on the ground, it's a little bit too bright for me as well. Outside of that, I thought the monster work was excellent.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I mean, through and through. And I love the scene where he smashed the concrete wall in there. And it's got, all the mucus and the drool running down, and no, I'm here for it. I loved it when Melvin had it wrapped around him and he comes, and he almost loses his life,
Yes.
This
close.
No, I'm this close. I'm here for the monsters and I'll stay for the monsters. Yes.
Very cool.
I like how you call them monsters and not graboids.
They're
Touché.
both. I'm going to push back on you a little bit, but maybe I'm just trying to understand. So you said there's a couple parts where the guts were too bright. Can you
colorization, and it could have been saturation on my TV, but that's just me being nitpicky.
Well, here's what I'd say though. Have you ever hunted or seen an actual graboid?
No, I have not.
So their guts might be that color, Jeremiah.
That is true.
Fun fact: it's their guts and blood are a little bit orangish, more than
yeah.
And they used like pumpkin pie filling for some of
really?
it. So
okay,
it really looks like once you know that and see it,
is that
like,
true?
That's true.
Because I was watching it, and my daughter walks in, and she's a college age student. She doesn't like these kind of movies. She walks in right as the splat's happening,
yeah.
And that's what she said. She goes, "Did they use pumpkin pie filling for that?" And I said, "I don't know."
Yeah,
I'm going to go home and tell her that now.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow,
I just learned something.
Yeah, that's what we try to do here at Retro Rewind Pod. Bring families together through learning about pumpkin guts.
Okay, now cue the music and that star thing.
Thank you, Chandler. Travis, what's the thing you loved most about Tremors?
Oh, yeah, kind of playing off of Jeremiah's. All of the real effects for me was what make this movie so heartfelt. Especially like the.
You mean the practical effects?
The practical effects. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. The practical effects are what bring this movie home for me, whether that's the construction worker hitting the snake head and the jackhammer dragging through the concrete. That was a super cool scene. Or the boards flying up in the boardwalks, the houses disintegrating. And I love it when they're running and the fence posts are falling down. It just really brings you into the movie and feels like you're there. It brings that imagination and excitement with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so this pretty much the same as my classic makers. All the creature effects. I'll just add on a little bit. I liked how they had this sense of when there's little dust like whirls. That's a way of knowing where they are since you can't see them most of the time. I also I love the overall design of the creature. I thought those were really clever, and how they move around with these little I don't know. What would you call them? Fins, I guess. Yeah, that propel them. I thought that was a neat idea. And then that as like these snakes come out and grab you. Just, so creative and so cool and executed so well. And sometimes there's movies where, and this happened to you with Lord of the Rings, where I loved the movie so much. I got the special edition so I could watch all the behind the scenes, and so much of the magic was ruined for me. I'm like, oh, that's just a bigature.
You mean for Lord of the Rings or for this movie?
For Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay.
So ever since then, I'm careful to not watch behind the scenes of movies where I feel like this might as well be real. It just looks that good to me. So, so this is one of those movies for me because it's just they pull it off so well. Except for one scene in the basement where Bert is unloading in the thing at the graboid, and you could tell you're using either a rear projection or a green screen. It's so painfully obvious. Other than that, though, loved it all. Including the pumpkin guts.
You're right. There is one cut in there that stands out.
Yeah.
For me too. Yeah.
There's actually two, but we'll get to that later.
All right, we'll get to that later. Guys. There's a lot to like about Tremors, but there's also things that we're not gonna like, and so I think. Wait,
are we moving to that already?
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I forgot one more thing I liked, guys, that I have to get to. So sorry. And that would be Geek Devotions. Geek Devotions is a collaboration of devoted geeks that are devoted to letting people know that they are loved. They produce a weekly geek culture-infused devotional, their podcast Com Talk, and written articles, all designed to encourage and challenge people in the geek community, bridging the gap between their faith and their geekdoms. Find all their content at geekdevotions.com.
That's great. At least Geek Devotions are, but what do they have to do with the Tremors movie?
Well, I mean, so they both like kaijus, and I think you could make a case that a graboid is a type of kaiju, like underground kaiju. So they must like this movie, even though I think Celeste voted it down. But that doesn't matter. What?
I don't know if it's big enough to be a kaiju.
Well, isn't the technical term of kaiju just a monster, and then but the actual big kaijus there's some other Japanese
I
word
don't know. I'm not Geek Devotions. They know that kind of stuff.
All right. Well, you don't seem to know
I don't
all
know
the
much.
things. Yeah. So how about I give you some trivia about Tremors, Paul? And
that might help me in my knowledge. Yeah, that
exactly.
sounds good. Yeah.
We're on the same page. Fantastic. All right. And usually I give a little behind the scenes. I usually give all the guests and Paul the question beforehand so they can think about it. I forgot to do that this time, so we're going to see how this goes.
Oh, boy.
Did you all realize that Michael Gross, who played Bert, the gun-toting guy in this film, began filming Tremors only one day after shooting the very last episode of Family Ties?
Yeah, where he's Michael J. Fox's dad.
Yeah, where he's Michael J. Fox's dad. And he went on to be in all 6, I think there's 6, maybe there's 7, of the Tremors movies. So
I did not realize it. It was the very next day.
Yeah. So my question to you all is, if your job ended tomorrow and you could spend the rest of your career fighting any movie monster, what monster would you pick?
The important thing is, am I getting paid?
Well, yeah. Well,
Okay.
I mean, people, it depends. Do you have a heart of gold where it's like, oh, I rescued you and I have nothing to pay you. Oh, well, I'll take just a fresh
Michael
batch of
Gross
cookies.
was getting paid to do these the next day.
Well,
after
fine. You could be a pure merc and just take money. I don't care.
Some government around the world is going to pay you for this.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
So Paul, what monster for you?
That I have to hunt?
That you have to hunt.
I don't know.
For at least 6 movies.
For at least 6 movies. So I can't be that good at hunting.
I am the lost one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll be a Ghostbuster.
A Ghostbuster? All right. That's fair.
That's a really good one.
Yeah. Travis, how about you?
I'd be like a Ramiro era zombie hunter. So none of these fast, smart, super deadly zombies. The slow bumbling hordes. Yeah, those ones. That would be my vibe.
Nice. Like
Man, 2 really good ones.
Yeah, that leaves you, Jeremiah.
Yeah. I've always been a big fan of Peter Cushing going after Dracula.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I thought you were trying to terminate Peter Cushing.
No. I would like to be Peter Cushing.
Okay.
And blow up with the Death Star. Okay.
Well, I mean, that's in a later life.
So wait, you're Dracula hunter.
You would be Van Helsing and trying to defeat vampires, basically?
Yeah,
okay.
That could be fun.
Okay.
Great trivia, Francisco.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.
And now that we've all had some trivial fun, let's find out what memories you, our awesome rewinders, had about Tremors.
All right. Jesse Cleva said, loved watching it as a kid and remember buying a VHS tape of this movie with a Blockbuster label at a flea market. Once I popped that movie in, I was a fan for life. So many memorable characters, but I gotta say, Bert was my favorite one. It's definitely a classic.
Yeah, Burt Ward is Robin. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Michael Fraley says, I love how this is a 1950s horror film. It's a slow burn for the reveal of the monster, and it all slowly turns up the heat before things really come apart. The premise is too silly to be taken seriously, but the film begs you to not take it too seriously and just enjoy the ride. James Felix, you go next.
James Felix says, Michael, with pleasure. The entire scene where one of the graboids break into Bert and Heather's basement and the monster and the viewers are treated to a literal giant wall of guns. What follows is both a militant prepper's worst nightmare and a dream come true. In Bert's own words, broke into the wrong gall darn rec room, did he?
And Jeremy Shields says, I've heard of people eating tomato soup or canned ravioli while watching for the first time and regretting it. Also, my friends still laugh at the TV edit with Kevin Bacon yelling, "Fooled you!"
Right? Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all for sharing your memories. But now it's time to get into things we didn't like so much about Tremors. So let's get into our
worst whoops.
All right. So let's start with Travis. What's something you didn't like about Tremors?
Bacon.
Yeah, there wasn't anything that was really offensive or stuck out to me a lot as like, oh, I really don't like this. But some of the things that I've noted down, maybe when the movie played a little bit too much into some of the cheesy spots of it. But it also kind of made it fun. So it's hard to say that it was a strong dislike. But like the scene of the graboid circling the rock, I think that came up like they used that same footage like 2 or 3 times.
Was it the same?
Yeah, and it's in at least
different.
the first or the next 2 or 3 movies too. So that's kind of fun. Like it's endearing, but at the time, like I wasn't, that wasn't like great.
Okay.
Kind of like when they reused the same footage of Superman flying in all 4 movies.
Wait, there's way more Superman movies, Paul. What are you talking about?
The Christopher Reeve ones.
I figured. Oh, wow.
Classic retro ones.
Would you say the 4th one is really good?
No, it's retro, though, and that's what we do. We're a retro rewind podcast.
Oh, that's what
brand.
this shirt's about. Oh,
yeah.
What was that, Jeremiah?
He's on brand.
He's on brand. Good point.
Super on brand.
Oh, my gosh. Jeremiah, what would you say was most off-brand about Tremors?
Not the most off-brand.
Oh, yeah, not the most off-brand, but an off-brand
the most
thing.
for later.
Yes, all right.
Yeah, one of the things that I didn't like, as good as the effects team did on the monsters, I didn't like the blood effects on Finn's legs when Kevin Bacon was patching her up.
Oh, yeah.
So.
On her legs. Yeah, they were spotty and without like the scratches to go with it to make it. Yeah.
I totally just didn't think about that, but yeah, I could see that.
So, fun fact about Jeremiah: several years ago, I used to teach, and I taught at a school where it was very project focused, and so we had a Hollywood makeup artist come to the school and teach our students how to do Hollywood style makeup for horror films and monsters and things like that.
That's awesome.
And then we actually wrote and filmed and acted and starred and all that kind of stuff, like a cute little 30-minute movie.
Oh, cool.
And so that's just something I pay attention to.
Yeah.
Horrific.
Oh my gosh.
It was right up my alley.
Were there zombies in it? Could Travis have hunted them?
Zombies was big time back then.
Yeah.
And so,
what do you mean back then?
Maybe they still are. I know. We can't get past zombies. There are other monsters, you guys.
Right.
And so, but yeah, there were a lot of zombies.
Very cool. Let's see. Let's go to Paul next. What's something you didn't really care for in Tremors?
One of the things that frustrated me is they had a momentum going, at least as the audience viewer, where the graboids like sucked down an entire car. And then
I don't think they sucked it down. They like made a ditch around it, kind of like they made like a sinkhole for it.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Okay, they weren't like sucking it like a lollipop all the way down like into the ground. But
how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Ford?
A Ford station wagon, no less.
Station wagon. A 3. Okay.
So anyway, you're not safe in a car that's a big metal. It's an older car that's made of metal. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So as an audience viewer, when the townspeople, granted, didn't know any better, they go in and then run into the store or something. It's like, oh, they're safe. How is the store safe when it's made of wood? And now later in the movie, the graboids just tear that store up because it's made of wood. But as an audience member, I'm like, you're not. Why are they safe in the store? This doesn't make sense. They're eating cars, but they're not destroying a wooden store. I know the story of the 3 little pigs. The sticks are nothing.
There's the whole problem with that whole scene around the doctor dying, the doctor and his wife dying, because they don't. We don't really know what kind of horror movie it is yet.
Yeah,
right.
And so we see sort of 2 different ways of handling the graboids, and then we finally settle into how they're going to respond in most situations, like eventually. But in that scene, we see some conflicting images. Like they'll take a generator and then spit it out, and then the way the doctor dies, he's like in a sinkhole, and like there's not a lot of like why does he get to be sucked in the way that he did, where other people, they come to the surface more
and take, that's a good point.
And so, but part of that is part of the mystery of not seeing everything yet. And so the identity of the monster and the identity of what kind of horror film this is going to be gets revealed over time. Yeah. But that is a problematic scene, going from the generator to the doctor to the Ford.
Yeah, I could see that. So your issue though, Paul, was that what was your issue? That they us as audience members are like
felt safe.
Okay,
like
I was gonna
in a building. Like
I was gonna ask you though. We made a comparison in the poster to Jaws. Were you feeling that same way when you watched Jaws about all the swimmers? Like, why are you in the ocean? There's a shark there. What are you doing?
It's the safest place to be.
No, they opened up the beach. The mayor said it was fine.
Oh my god!
And the mayor knows best.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay. Well, something I didn't really like about this, I sort of already covered it in my likes about the effects, but that one scene with Bert shooting at a rear projection screen or a green screen composite, it just was not very good. So I'll go to my next one. And I would say that, and maybe this is sort of similar to what you were saying, Jeremiah, where we don't know what kind of monster this is, how it is going to work thematically. But in the beginning, that one guy that's up on the power lines, I forget his name, apparently also there's a whole introductory scene in this movie. It has a whole 2-minute different opening that is about that character.
Yeah.
But regardless, okay, they sort of surmise that he stayed up there and just died of dehydration. How would he doesn't have any rocks or any sort of way to know if the graboids are there. So why would he just sit up there when he come down eventually?
He didn't know what else to do. No one ever came by.
Dying of thirst, you're not just going to be like, well, you know what? I think they might be gone, but I'm not sure. So I'm just going to stay here.
Oh, he'd be closer to the ground, testing it every now and then?
Yeah, probably, since he doesn't have anything, I would think, to chuck down to test, yeah. And besides, by that point, I don't think let me test the ground.
If you're out there, maybe he passed out through heat exhaustion for a while and then eventually...
Yeah. All right. I will take that as a possibility. All right, that's fair. Thank you. One less like I got. Thanks a lot, PaulJPowers.com.
You're welcome.
Let's go back to Travis. What's something else you disliked about Tremors?
Oh, yeah, I've got to decide. But if this is a regular dislike or my most dislike.
Ooh, important decision.
Ooh, yeah. I think I'll go with a regular dislike. I didn't really like Melvin's character.
Yeah.
It makes sense with being exaggerated and going more, but it's he's just so annoying for no reason.
Right?
Like when the sewer line broke and he's just laughing hysterically. Like, it's kind of funny. It was like, it's getting on your porch. Like, it probably got it on you too. It wasn't that, separated from.
Give me a gun, I'll take one. I wouldn't give you a gun if it was World War III.
And I mean, I sort of agree with what you said, Jeremiah, earlier, that there's no wasted character. But I don't understand other than giving maybe the audience someone to hate. I don't see the point of him.
The problem with Melvin is he's too young to I want him to have a parent. And he doesn't have a parent. And
I thought Nestor was his parent, but maybe not.
I don't think so. I didn't think that. But he would totally fit with he's when I was watching this as a kid, that's a character I would resonate with.
Oh, really? Okay.
Kind of thing, because he's closer to my age.
Oh,
he's a
talk like me and
thinks he knows better.
So
that's why he's there.
Okay, someone for other people to connect with. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, thank you. But obviously you weren't connecting with him very much, Travis.
I mean, I enjoyed disliking him strongly. I won't say hating him, but I hope not, man. You got to do what you got. Yeah, you got to do your best. But
by the way, he looked so much like the older brother from the Wonder Years. Is that the same actor?
No, I thought the same thing, but it isn't.
It's not. Yeah. Okay, all right. Moving on then. Paul, what's something else you liked? Disliked, excuse me.
Oh, disliked. Yeah. Right along what you were saying, Francisco. There's a couple shots of blue screens or rear projection that is totally especially now that they released it in 4K, it's super apparent. There's one of this, another, I said there were at least two. The other scene is there's a fade, and I forget where it is in the movie, but like the whole scene fades and the mountains in the back fade really quick to black as the rest of it slowly fades. It's like, okay, there's an obvious blue screen or green screen transition they're trying to pull off, and they didn't do it very well.
Okay. I don't recall that, but I believe you.
If you blinked a long time, you would miss it.
All right. Well, all I care about is that there's no oversized moon in this movie. So that's what matters to me in Night Shots. That's a callback. Quickly Down Under. Go listen to that episode if you're curious what I'm talking about.
Down Under, like
Down
Under. These graboids are down
exactly.
under.
They're down under the ground. Exactly.
It works.
Jeremiah, what was really underfoot for you about Tremors in that you didn't like it? Wow, I am just nailing these segues.
So I'm gonna low key do a like and a dislike at the same time.
Yeah.
And because I think the like is sort of a deep cut because it presents for me the dislike. So my dislike is Reba McEntire.
Oh, okay.
And I know. And one of the things I liked about the film was the soundtrack, because it's sort of a time capsule of the era.
Yeah.
Where you didn't have like pop songs. You know what I mean? It was something that was composed.
Yeah.
And it was composed using methods and things of the era.
Yes.
And so it's and then at the very end, when it goes right to the credits, what do you get? You get a Reba McEntire song.
Yeah.
And it's
all right, so you don't mind her role in this.
Right, I don't mind her role. Yeah.
Okay.
But she gets the acting job and the soundtrack job. And it's such a I was like, movie's over.
Yep.
Time to
there we go.
So
that'll get you out of the theater.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. So
oh my gosh. Yeah, I could totally see that. I'm very hit or miss with the music choices at the end of movies, especially in like late 80s, early 90s movies. And yeah, this is one of those that just did not do anything for me. It didn't make my dislike list, but I can totally agree with you there.
That's our Bobo in chat says, so he was not Reba McEntirely enjoying her?
Oh my gosh, Bobo. So let's get to our tragic makers about Tremors, guys. And I'm going to start off. I'm curious how you guys take this, because maybe I'm curious if anyone would be a champion of the thing I'm about to say. But
Reba McEntire. I like.
No, not Reba McEntire.
Oh, okay.
The romance between Val, Kevin Bacon, and Rhonda, Kit Ferris,
Finn Carter.
I confused those initials. Yeah, Finn Carter. I don't know. It wasn't working for me. I either wanted to have more of this sort of like, I don't know, romantic tension between them to make it seem like there's a bigger payoff at the end when they kiss, or just don't have any romance at all. I think they could just be completely platonic. They like did a half in, half out with it, and it just didn't work for me. So
I can kind of see that. So you're not saying, oh, they should have had the blonde hair, girl that he was searching for. No, you're talking about like there isn't
much chemistry. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's true. But I also think it was written that way because this is something that Kevin Bacon's character. That's the official title, by the way. Kevin Bacon's character is his name. That he has to overcome this prejudice, for lack of a better word, and to see there is other good qualities about females besides his checklist that he previously had. So
sure, I get that.
She's not supposed to come. If she came across a little too strong, I don't know. It's a delicate balance that I don't know how you would hit that without coming across either too strong at first or but I agree that they didn't hit it either way.
I think they just needed more sort of subtle romantic moments between them to pay off a kiss at the end. But all right, fine.
I can care less about the kiss at the end.
Okay.
But the very last statement you just made is where I want to push back a little bit.
Okay.
Because it's not about her at all. Kevin Bacon is the main character of the film.
Yeah.
And so we have to get through
not the main actor, but the main character.
Whatever. Kevin Bacon is just meta now. And so
it's like Nicolas Cage and Kevin Bacon. They're
right.
just them in the movie.
Okay, off script, I want to talk to you about something about Nicolas Cage. But anyway, no, because he has these mental hurdles that he has to get over.
Sure, yeah,
and that's why Earl keeps poking at him, right?
Yeah.
And so you see the shift of his mindset, and it's nothing about her.
Yeah.
And then all we see at the end is, or throughout the film, we see moments where he's like, oh, yeah. Like when he's like wrestling within his mind, right?
Yeah.
And obviously she's gonna like him because he's Kevin Bacon, right? So he makes the final leap. He's on the other side, and so he walks up, and he kisses her, and she turns, and the way that she looks at him, that's the payoff right there.
Okay.
And they didn't have to kiss. Like he could have actually said something. I bet they had him kiss because they couldn't find a line. That's what I think. And so they just kiss. That issue is now solved. That storyline is done. It wraps it up, and just like they do all the storylines in the film. But it's not about her. It's about him and his mental hurdles. And that's why I wanted to push back a little bit on what you said.
I mean,
so you're saying it's not Finn Carter, the actress's fault. It's Kevin Bacon's fault.
It's never Kevin Bacon's fault.
Oh, okay. I just want to go on record.
But no. What I'm saying is the progression of that storyline. She is. It's about his evolution, and she's a constant throughout that because she doesn't change much.
She doesn't. I guess
she is who she is.
I would have liked to have seen.
He's the one that changes,
and I would have liked to seen those changes punctuated a little bit more. Then it seemed like they all came right at the end.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
Got to listen to Earl more. He's wiser and smarter than you.
I agree. He does need to listen to him.
Or no, older and wiser. That's what he said. Older and wiser.
Well, you're half right. But all right, that's totally fair though, Jeremiah. I could see your point there. That's still my tragic maker though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can still have it.
Let's go with your tragic maker though, Jeremiah. What can I push back on for you?
I wasn't aware of how many of these wonderful films that I could be watching.
Oh.
My tragic maker is that I didn't know all these years I could have been watching other Tremors films and a TV show. Seriously, this actually happens to be one of my most favorite movies. And when my kids were growing up, so I grew up watching it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
My friend Dustin and I would walk over to Tower Records and rent it.
Oh, fun.
Right? And
you could rent things from Tower Records?
Yes. They had a rental site.
Oh, okay.
And we didn't live near a Blockbuster or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
And then later, later when my kids grow older, I wanted to introduce some of the movies that I like.
Of course.
This was one of the first few that I actually bought on Amazon Prime.
Oh, cool.
And to show them, which was now probably 6, 7, or 8 years ago now at this point. So it's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah.
But like you, Paul, in the beginning when you said it held up pretty good.
Yeah.
So the fact that it held up pretty good makes me actually want to go watch the rest of them now.
Yeah. All right. I can't push back on that because if I had more time, I would definitely just binge all of them just to see what happens. Is apparently the Michael Gross character is the one that sort of perpetuates through them all.
Okay.
So I'd be curious how that works. But
Michael J. Fox's dad.
Yes, Michael J. Fox's dad. Kevin Bacon and Michael J. Fox's dad.
And Reba McEntire, which I don't think she reprises, does she? I don't know. I heard Michael Gross does, but that's the only one I've heard.
Yeah.
Except Kevin Bacon came back for one of those.
Okay.
Anyway.
Let's go to Travis next. What is your worst thing about Tremors? What really shakes you to the core?
Yeah, what undermines my view of the film? There we go. How's that? I don't know. It's a struggle for me going back and forth, but I might make some diehard fans of the series a little upset with this. But I don't really like Bert as a character, and especially in the setting. I think it's
wrong with Robin.
I think it's because the Bert,
Fred Ward. Bert, the gun guy,
the Atlanta Hawks fan.
Michael J. Fox's dad.
Yeah, Michael J. Fox's dad.
Okay,
because I think a lot of the other characters, especially Val and the other guy, they're just kind of everyday people that they're working. Val and Earl. They're everyday
Kevin
people.
Bacon and the other guy.
The scientist.
Right.
She's not a specialist. She's a seismologist, right? So they're just kind of like thrown into this situation, making the best of it. But then there's this prepper who's like, "Oh, I've got elephant guns and I can make bombs and stuff like that," and it just kind of felt like a little bit too easy. I guess in that sense.
I guess so.
Yeah, especially when they come into the basement too. It's like, oh, it can't back up. They're just gonna like shoot. I mean, it's funny. It's definitely funny.
Yeah.
But
I guess what I like about his character is he's this type of person that if he's a hammer, every problem is a nail. Like he's just gonna throw guns at it. That's how I'm gonna fix the situation. So he doesn't have a lot of the sort of tactical mindset that necessarily Val and Earl seem to possess somehow. Which doesn't make a lot of sense, but they figure out sometimes Kevin Bacon will make a very smart comment. I'm like, I mean, I appreciate that you got there. I'm not quite sure I buy that your character would have gotten there.
Well,
but
Francisco, they think ahead, at least a day or two.
I'm already thinking about Wednesday. It's only Monday. It is Monday, isn't it?
It's Tuesday.
Well, I know in real life.
In the movie. Jesus. Gosh. Yeah. Apparently, I need to watch this movie.
Well, one of the things that Michael J. Fox's dad does give us, though, is he does give us something to push off against, because it presents a certain worldview.
Yeah.
And so when we get to that part of the discussion, there's a quote here, and I want to play with it.
Okay, cool.
One of the things that he says. So, but I'm glad you highlighted that though, because it is kind of I think he fits the scene. I think it was too easy to write.
That's fair. That's fair. And that leaves PaulJPowers.com.
Yeah.
What was the thing you hated most about Tremors?
Is there some higher force at work here? I mean, are we asking too much of life?
Yeah, sorry, we're gonna trash this movie.
Okay.
But the thing that prevents me from going out and rewatching this movie the most, the thing I'm most hesitant to dive into because of this is, unfortunately, I'm going to have to play the prude card, but it's the language.
Yeah.
If language doesn't bother you, that's fine. If language bothers you, watch out for this movie because it has a lot of it.
Pardon my
maybe I watched the TV edited version too much or something.
I did as well. Yeah. Whenever I hear an actual F-bomb in this, I'm always a little like taken aback by it because I'm so used to the overdubbed of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Lord's name in vain all throughout of it. And it's just unnecessary. I think it would be just as well because I saw the TV version.
Yeah.
Well, fool you.
Totally fair.
It's fun. And unfortunately, you're going to lose people. Not a lot of people, I'm sure, especially as a lot of those older people are dying off that follow that way. But for me, that's the worst thing about this movie.
Okay, the language. All right, that's totally valid, Paul. Awesome, guys. Well, now that we've entered all our trajectories into the firing computer, Travis, do you have a firing solution for us? Travis the AI, not this Travis.
Firing solution complete. Salvo authority accepted. Ratings prepared to launch.
All right, guys, it's time for the moment of truth. Do we rate Tremors? A classic. We'd recommend anyone go see this, whether or not they've seen it before. A nostalgic. It's worth seeing again if you enjoyed it as a kid or young adult. But if you've never seen it before, don't waste your time to watch it. Or is it a tragic? We'd recommend no one see this movie, whether or not you've seen it before. If you've never seen it before, keep it that way. And if you have seen it before, don't sully any good memories you might have of it with a rewatch. So we're going to start with our guests. Jeremiah, let's start with you. You had predicted classic. Where did it end up on the rewatch?
It's still classic.
Still classic. All right. Are you sure? I mean, there was that one thing that I'm having trouble remembering that you didn't. You haven't seen all the other Tremors. So, I mean, maybe if you saw those, this would actually fall way down. So,
I mean, it's a possibility, but I'm willing to take that risk.
Okay. You'll bite that bullet. Is that the phrase?
Sure.
I'm not very good at that.
All right. So classic for Jeremiah. Very good. Travis, you were a person that had predicted nostalgic. Did it end up being nostalgic for you or something else?
No, it's still classic. Yeah, it held up well. So many of the physical effects, I think, really held it in there, and very relatable characters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So classic for you. All right. Let's go to, before we get to me and Paul's reign, let's go to our Reflux capacitors to be able to support this content. You get to participate in we combine your votes together for your own final rating. And when we combine your guys' classics and tragics together, we end up with a nostalgic from the Reflux capacitors. So thank you all. So we have 2 classics and a nostalgic so far. Paul, what was your final rating?
Let's tear this sucker down. Sink it.
So tragic then, I guess?
This is like a B horror movie. It's not an A horror movie. And if you like that, then this is right up your alley. It's not a must go out and see unless you really like B horror movies. Then you must go out and see it. But I don't typically, so I'm not going to go that way. But I do enjoy it, so I recommend it and go with a classic.
Oh my gosh, you totally had me, PaulJPowers.com. What's interesting about what you said, I think I was mentioning to Travis. We were at a Christmas party for the worship team for our church, and we were bringing up that we were watching Tremors and telling someone else that it's essentially the closest to an A-B movie that you could get. It's like it wants to be an A movie so bad, but it just can't quite get there.
Yeah.
So that's just going off what you said. Well, that leaves me, and I gotta tell you guys that romance not working out didn't really matter that much because this is definitely a classic for me. I really enjoyed it. It's just fun. The imaginative creatures, fun characters, town working together. Just really had all the hallmarks of a movie that Francisco would like. So
nice.
According to the Retro Rewind podcast, we rate Tremors a disputed, only slightly disputed, classic film. We'd recommend anyone go out and watch it, whether or not you've seen it before. But now it's time to just stick around. We'll stick around in 1990 for a bit and see where we can find us, where you can hear where we can find us all online. Travis? Not that Travis, the other Travis.
Return to 20XX overridden. Comsats broadcasting while awaiting return coordinates.
Feels good to be in 1990, but we wouldn't have been able to travel back there to begin with if it weren't for our amazing reflux capacitors, namely Deborah Powers, Geek Devotions, Drew of the Cellcast, Ashley Ruiz, Kennethan, Fabulous Lomax, Rosie Lomax, That's Our Babu, D. Tungsten, Dale, Mr. Lost, Gerald Hafner, Cool Deluxe, Dustin Warford, in addition to 2 other awesome patrons as well. Thank you all so much for keeping the gigawatts coming, and if you want to help us keep flying and get bonus content for your generosity, head over to retrorewindpodcast.com/support to start.
And speaking of these graboids being down under.
Well, hello there, mate. This stream is the most beautiful stream I've ever seen. And you know what? This stream is sponsored by the one and only PaulJPowers.com.
Wow.
Hey, Francisco, is there any ways to support the stream that doesn't take a hit on the wallet?
Actually, yeah. You probably enjoyed this episode if you made it this far. So if you aren't driving, tap the share icon in your podcast player for this episode and send it to a friend saying, I know you like B monster movies, or I know you love Tremors, so I thought you'd like this podcast on that movie.
Cool. And I'll bet they'll thank you for it.
Probably.
And speaking of thanking people, we want to give a big graboid hug to Jeremiah and Travis for supporting us with their thoughts about Tremors. And we like to go alphabetically. So we'll start with Jeremiah. Where could people find you online? Is there anything cool you got going on that people should know about?
I have nothing current. I used to host a podcast called Spellstorm Miniatures, and you can still find that online.
Oh, cool.
My friend Dan and I, we were into miniature wargaming. We started with War Machine and sort of branched out to several other games beyond that, and that is sort of our content. My favorite episodes, if you were to go back through our library, are the interview episodes with certain content creators.
Oh, cool.
I like those ones the best.
And what was the name of the podcast again?
Spellstorm Miniatures.
Spellstorm Miniatures. Awesome.
Cool. And Travis, where can people find you online? And is there anything cool you got going on that they should know about?
Yeah, I'm on the MySpace. Pretty active on
Say
there.
hi to Tom for me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're best friends.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. See him every day.
Didn't NSYNC buy MySpace or something?
I only have the 1997 version of MySpace locked into my head. I accept no other reality.
Do you use a Netscape browser in your head as well?
And I have custom backgrounds with, the...
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Do you have music automatically loading your page?
I had took it off because people were tired of listening to my, teen angst music from 1997. So.
It's like you told them, bye.
Interesting definition of teen angst music, Paul.
Right?
That's weird. I had Reba McEntire playing on my MySpace page. But to each their own, I suppose. So anywhere else, Travis?
I'm not on the lines very much. On the line, online. Yeah.
On the lines. I'm still in that.
It's a good place to be.
Goodness. Well, thank you so much, Jeremiah. Thank you so much, Travis. And thank you to my graboidy friend, Paul. Maybe we'll go with that. And all your rewinders, new or old, for another fun voyage.
You're welcome. And you can find me, pauljpowers.com, at pauljpowers.com.
I was going to say .net. Oh, okay. Of course, .com. It's in your name.
Yeah.
And you can find me on our Discord for show announcements or just to say hi. Join us there at retrorewindpodcast.com/Discord or find out about the card game I'm designing at junkyardjuggernauts.com.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box, a curated collection of podcasts, videos, and articles that will provide you a balanced meal of content. You will find culture celebrated for its past and future, satirized for its extremes, explored in study, and created anew in story. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
That talking graboid is right. Just as we are now part of Culture Box Media Network.
Careful, Paul. He might hear you.
It's okay for me to speak. I'm not pounding on my with my.
Oh,
feet.
That's a good point. All right.
Yeah. Sending in Morse code as I'm dancing. Find all the shows unpacking truth through story, comedy, and geekery at culturebox.media.
Thank you, EXO, and thank you all for listening. We pray you are more joyful today than when you first hit play, but like a Pokemon, we gotta catch you all for the next episode of the Retro Rewind Podcast.
Rewinders of the Lost Pod mission complete. Review audio ship's logs for more details.
Well, haven't seen a sign for hours. Must be long gone.
Yeah, must be. Hey, why don't you take a little stroll and find out?